This is a tutorial on a simple way to add 3D using SVGs in Blender. So if I jump to another page in Illustrator, if I go Command Y, you can see this is converted to a path, and then I'm going to go File, Save As, and I'm going to save it as an SVG. I'll save that, go OK, and now I'm going to open up Blender. When I open up Blender, you're gonna get a scene like this. If I go File, Import, there'll be an option here that says SVG, and I can find my SVG. I'll import it, and it comes up here. I'm just going to switch the eye off beside this box. If I hold down my Command key and zoom in, I'm going to see my SVG here. Now, if I select it all, I'll go Command J. You can see the colors changed, it's all one object now. Now I can go Object, convert to a mesh, into my modeling, and now I'm going to end up with this extrude function. I need to select everything again, extrude, and now I can just drag it up. And I have other options here as well where I can hit rotate. You can see this is going to kind of distort it, mess with it a bit, and so I'm just kind of warping it and turning it inside out. I can kind of push it to distort it a wee bit as well, filling up this space a wee bit more. So to render it, the first thing I need to look at is under the render options here. I have a few things where I can kind of switch on ambient light in that. Sometimes that'll have a bit of an effect, but the one underneath will give me the spec. So at the moment I've got it on 10,000 by 6,000, so it means it's going to create a really big image. I'm going to change it now to a wireframe. I've got options here where I can add in a bit more detail into that wireframe. I can switch off these things. You can see the lines going through it, so I can switch those options off. There'll be an option here where it talks about it being a PNG, RGBA, overwrite, and if I come back here under the render one, you will see that I will have an option here that talks about transparent. Usually that's off, so I'll make sure that's switched on, which now means that I can go to view, down here to viewport render, brings up a new window with a magnifying glass. I'll just move down just simply to make sure it's all on the page. It's pretty good, and then I can go image, save as, and I'll give it a label. It's labeled as number 2. Hit save a couple of times and I've got that saved. Close this window. I can come back here and I can make it a solid. What I'm going to do with this as well is that I've already added on a light. I can go to add here, and you can see that it will have light, point light. I'm going to go with sun, Move that down a bit, switch these things on again so that I can see everything. Got my light here so you can see I can kind of switch it around, point it in the right direction. Obviously to see the effect that the light has, I'm going to have to put it on a different material mode. Okay, now that I've got it the way that I want it, viewport render. And I'll just use this to scale it down, make sure I've got everything I want. It's all on there. Image, save as. Call this one 2A. And I can save the, I'll open up those images, 2 and 2A. You're going to see that they come up with a transparent background. So I'll go with this one here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the adjustment layers. I'm going to bring in hue and saturation. I'm going to colorize it yellow. Okay, because I want something moon, I'll brighten it up. Overall, I can decide if I want to make it a bit lighter. Once I've got all that, I'm going to go Command E, which just joins it all together. I'll make a new page, so A3 tool, create. I'll grab this and I can just drag it, get my tab, bring it in. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go layer, smart objects, convert it to a smart object, just so I can scale it if I want to, scale it down. Layer here, this is completely transparent, so if I drag that over, you'll see I'll have all this fine line work if I large up on it. Nice and clean and big and transparent. This is the original image. What I like is I kind of like this area here, so I'm going to select it all, cut it, go to the channels, new, paste it. Same thing as usual, I'm going to go Command L. Try and make it a bit brighter. While I'm in here, I can get the brush, I can put it on white, and I can just clean up and get rid of what I don't want. Image rotation 90 degrees, because it's just this corner up here that I want. So I'm going to grab this portion, and same thing, I don't want the lettering on this one, I just want the texture, so I'm just going to paint it out. I'm on my channel, so I go Command I, I'll select it, go to layers, new, and I'll just fill it with black in the meantime. I'll get rid of that background layer. Now there's two ways that I can use this. The first way, I'm just going to select it and drag it. I'll drag it up the top here and I'm going to put it over that image. Now what I can do is, I switch this off for a second. If I clip it, you'll see that it sticks within the letters. If I unclip it, see the whole thing. Clip it by holding down the Option key, and I get this little symbol between the two layers. It clips it so it only shows up on this layer. This now means that if I want, I can on this layer I can get my eyedropper tool, pick a color, maybe I'll pick this lighter one, Option, Shift Delete, and it's going to fill it with that color. So clipping a texture within the main image. Now if I go back to where I had that texture, select all, cut it, and I'll come back here. The other way I can use it is I can go to my channels, going to make a new channel, going to paste it. I can switch the eye on beside RGB so I can see exactly where it is, and I'm just going to Command T, flip it around and bring it up to this corner. I'll scale it a wee bit. Now because it's on here and I've got it as a selection, I can go to my layers and I can come down to this area here and I can make a mask. If I click the mask, it actually eats out of that. And an easy way to show this is if I change the background color. So I'll change it to a kind of a night sky, go OK, Option Delete, and you can see that it's eating into the lettering, it's kind of disintegrating it. One is clipped, so it's sticking it inside. The other one is a mask, so it's eating it away. If I hold down the Shift key and click on the mask, I can see it without the mask. So I can see exactly what it's doing. If I unlock them, I can move it around. It's going to be a little bit fudgy. I'd have to clean it up. Afterwards, you can see these areas coming in at the side, but you can modify it and move it around. So with this, I'll get the background and I'm going to select, do a feather. So I'm just softening this edge, 55, okay. And then I'm going to fill it with a yellow again. That soft edge will kind of fade it off as it hits the blue. So two ways to play around with using a mask. Using that texture either as a mask or eating away at the image. Same with this. If I wanted to, I can move this up and let's change it to a color that we can see easily. If I clip it, you'll see it just inside that shape. I'm going to select all of that and I'm going to copy it, and through the channels, I'll use it as a channel. I always start off with white. Got it pasted in here. I can see where it is over this, so I can move it slightly so it's not exactly the same as the other one. You'll get these boundaries come in a wee bit, but I can get rid of them. I can just select, Command Shift I, invert, and then just fill it with white so it's nice and clean again. Command I, get my selection, come into the layers, and I can add it onto this selection here. So if I fill it with black, just have to switch that off there. You can see now that this thing here, if I'm back on the layers, shift, it's actually eating through the image and it's showing the yellow behind, or further up here it's showing the blue behind. So masking or clipping.